It's a trap. That's right, my friends. The market loves to trap traders, both long and short. Today was a beautiful example of that. We identified the trap during the live stream this morning, and well, I want to show you guys and explain how I saw the trap and how I was able to profit from the trap. Well, what's going on, guys? Patrick here, and well, if you missed out on this morning's live stream, we had some really good opportunities to make some money this morning, and I want to keep applying the ideas that I'm always talking about here on the channel. So this weekend, I made a video talking about the 3-minute trend and how to trade it and the idea of trading the trend breakouts. Today was a perfect example. A few times we had some really good trend breaks, but in general, we also had kind of a choppy, overall trappy type of market, kind of grinding higher. When most people thought the market was going to go lower, the market continued to go higher. So let's take a look at the chart here, and I'm going to show you guys the trap. All right, so pulling up the 3-minute chart here on the SPY, I'm sure you guys can already notice a few things right away. The price action, the overall grind here. So this morning we had the push up, we had the sell off, and then we pushed back above the VWAP, and then we grinded all the way up there to the almost 398 level. And I talked about this kind of plan overall multiple times during the live stream. So the first trade of the day was pretty simple. We had the breakdown, we had this break of the trend here. Pretty nice little beautiful trade from the 394s down to the 390 level, and that worked out perfectly on the MES as well. So we took that trade this morning right at open, and I'll show you guys exactly the entry here. We break below the EMA, we get short, we go from the 40s down here to the 10s. I ended up getting out, I think, for like 13 handles on that trade. So a nice little trade there. This is all live during the live stream as well. So if you want to tune in, you want to see when it's live, when we're actually trading it, entry, exits, and all that, make sure you tune in 9:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll be live tomorrow morning. So you can see the first trade of the day, pretty simple, right? We break below the EMAs, we break the trend, we break below the VWAP, we get the sell-off, and it all works out beautifully. So at that point, we're like, okay, cool. You know, we're going to head lower. We had this gap in the chart. We kind of almost closed the gap, but not fully. So we were still expecting a little bit more downside. But what we ended up getting here was kind of a trap in the sense that we almost looking like a bear flag, right? Like this is looking very much like a bear flag right here. Like you're thinking like, oh, wow, like this is going to break to the downside. So, you know, normally on a bear flag, you would kind of break to the downside here. But instead, we trapped, we pushed a back up. So at that point, I'm like, hey, okay, you know, let's see what happens. We push up to the VWAP. We push up to the VWAP, and look at how we reclaimed the VWAP. We literally just went right through it. We got stuck on this candle and then was squeezed right through that VWAP. So at that point, I'm like, okay, hey, what do we say? When we're below the VWAP, we're bearish. When we're above the VWAP, we're bullish, especially with this type of candle, pushing straight through the VWAP, like not really like slowing down, not saying, you know, like there's really any pressure at that point because we just squeezed right through. So again, we have a flag here. We have a trend, I would say, you know, a flag. And look at what we get. We get the push up. We break to the outside. But what happened here is if you look at the smaller time frames, so we push up to this 37 area, and then look what happens. We break below the EMA, almost just like wash from the 35s down to 25. And at that point, I'm like, hey, wow, we should be getting short, right? Like in our head, we should be getting short. But what happened is we ended up squeezing right back up there. So this is why I'm always talking about on the 3-minute chart, focusing so much on the candle closes. We don't want to get faked out, right? Like this is a total fake out right here. This is a trap. This is a trap, my friends. A lot of people got trapped here because you're thinking, okay, we're breaking, we're shorting, we're breaking below the EMA. Let's get short. But instead, the market had other plans. We are right there at the VWAP, so we know we're above the VWAP, right? We're above the VWAP. We're going to stay bullish. Crash down and then the squeeze right back up there. At that point, I ended up getting long during the live stream. Tune in, you can see it. Getting long here after we basically just squeezed right back up there after dumping and then squeezing. So almost a perfect little trap there. You can see the little fake out on this candle. So again, sticking with the plan, the 3-minute trend break, right? So again, you know, when the market starts trending like this, when the market starts kind of just grinding in these areas, we got to kind of change up our overall thought process because we don't just want to be buying, you know, every little trend break. We want to buy the overall trend breaks, the bigger trend breaks. We don't want to just, you know, jump in on the choppy action. And guess what we got right here? Again, we got this almost, I would say, the same kind of setup. We had that sell-off, the sell-off, and down to the VWAP. We bounced right off the VWAP. We pushed back up, and then we rallied again. We sold down to the VWAP here. We bounced right back up. At that point, I'm like, okay, if we can squeeze above these candles here at the 42s, well, I'm going to look to get long, and that's exactly what we did. We got long from the 42s and then rallied all the way up there to 55, ended up taking profit like the 52, 51 area. So a nice little 10-handle move, and then the market continued to push higher. So the moral of the story is, you know, yes, we're using EMAs, we're using trend lines, we're using the VWAP, we're using these indicators, but we also have to kind of look at the overall bigger picture. Again, what were we doing? We were above the VWAP, the market was grinding higher, the overall market gapped up. You know, it's Monday, people are kind of bullish again, I guess, you know, buy the dip, sell the rip type thing. But I'm always kind of looking at the market. How is the market trending? Is it trending strong? Like, are we going straight down? Are we going straight up? Is there volume? Is there momentum? Or are we chopping around? Asking those questions and then knowing, like, hey, look, just because we break below the EMA does not mean I should be getting short. The overall trend is still pushing higher. The overall trend is still showing me that we're above the VWAP, that we're still showing support at the VWAP area. So I need to identify that, and I need to make sure that I'm on the right side of the trade, right? Like, I don't want to just be jumping into a trade just because, oh, wow, look, we broke below the VWAP. I'm constantly looking at, like, what's the overall picture? What's the game that they're playing? Especially seeing that earlier breakdown and then the squeeze back up. I was thinking on this breakdown, squeezing back up, there's a much better chance that we end up going higher than going lower from that point. And that's one very important thing to think about when you're trading, is that when you see these patterns, when we get this little trap to the downside and then we squeeze back up, thinking that it's very possible that it might happen again, especially on the smaller time frame. So on the 1 minute chart, we got the break to the downside on the EMA and then squeeze back up. We got the same kind of little break below the EMA, squeeze back up. We got this dump here, but guess what? We squeezed back up. We reclaimed the EMA there, so we're thinking, hey, there's no point in getting short at this point. You know, we want to wait for like the real indicator that we should be getting short. At that point, I mean, you see the market just rallied all the way there to the 75s here on the MES and just keeps going up there to 90s. Same exact setup earlier, breaking below the EMA, squeezing back up, almost like perfectly a little bear flag, but breaking the upside. You know, again, kind of bear flag here, breaking the upside. So we're looking at these patterns, looking at how the market's moving on that day, and always kind of adjusting the overall plan, the overall idea, but always sticking to our rules. Number one, like I said, you know, where are we at with the VWAP? Are we above it? Are we below it? Where are we doing? Are we trending? The market's obviously trending higher at that point, so I don't need to get short until we kind of either make a lower high or we make a lower low. So like if this would have broke through 60 and got down here to the 50s, well, then I'm thinking, okay, you know, I can start to get short at that point. But seeing that we're like ding, 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 making these higher highs, and then also, you know, making higher lows, we're going to stay bullish until, look what happens. We break below the 62s here, and we start to make what? Lower highs. So now the trend is changing. If we go over here to the SPY, we look pretty clearly at the 3 minute chart. You know, we draw our trend line, just like we talked about over the weekend. We get multiple touches here. Just ding, ding, ding. We got a little break, one more push up. And then here is our real kind of solid entry there. Ding, 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 ding. You know, touching multiple times there on the trend. We break the downside. Again, if you want to get long, you can see we're at the VWAP right now. So this could be a reversal. If we break above this trend, well, then we're thinking we could push back to the 399, maybe a 400 area here end of day. So again, constantly just looking at the overall market. What is it giving us? What is it showing? And not just trying to like force, you know, like I don't need to force a trade. I need to trade with the trend. I need to trade with the action. And today is a good example that there will be traps. Those traps are basically shorts trying to get aggressive, or it's bulls, you know, cutting off, stop loss, getting run, things like that. Understanding that the market is constantly kind of giving us these fake outs will also allow you to kind of identify those and be like, hey, look, I think this is a fake out to the downside. So maybe I should be getting long, right? Maybe I should be getting long because while everybody else thinks we're going to break to the downside, this is my pullback entry to get long, right? We're constantly looking for these little opportunities and these reasons to take a trade. So if you guys haven't already tuned in for the live streams, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, make sure you do it right here on the channel. Hit that subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys later on.
Yeah.